It's Juliana. I don't know if I said my name in the first video, but I'm Juliana, by the way. And today we're talking about sex trafficking. We're going to hit on some major points of sex trafficking in each region of the world. I'm not going to delve in as deep as I like because I want to make this video kind of short so I can fit it all on YouTube. I could probably talk about it for a few hours, but we won't do that. Sorry for looking so nappy. I was just at the beach for like 3 hours. I'm all sandy, but it seemed like a really good time to do this. I had, a wealth of information I've been looking over, really getting into it. I hope you guys all got a chance to watch Born into Brothels. If not, keep that title in mind because definitely watch that. So, the first place we're going to start talking about is in Asia, but I'd first like to preface that by saying there are 27 million people subject to this type of modern day slavery all over the world. That is a huge number. That is an unfair number, that is a sad number, and that is a number that needs to be to zero. It's not fair and it's not right. That being said, we're going to go on in and basically start with Asia. I broke Asia up into 3 regions because the sex trafficking and how it's handled in each of these regions is a little bit different. So I'm starting with East Asia, places like Japan and that kind of stuff. So just to give you kind of a set of where we are. Many of these women, most of them are stolen for sex trafficking in these areas. Japan is rated number 2 in the Traffic in Persons report. That basically means they are rated number 2 in bringing in women for the sole purpose of sex trafficking them. It doesn't matter, if they're coming from South America, if they're coming from Europe, they're being brought into Japan to traffic them for sex. That is major. The fact that most of these women are stolen and brought here against their will is huge. In a lot of these countries, women do it because they have no other choice. And that is also very sad and something that needs to be changed. But the fact that people are being stolen, much like sometimes what happens here in the States, is not acceptable. You can also keep in mind that these women are held in debt bondage for $26,000 to $43,000. That's huge. You have to keep in mind these women and probably their families are living underneath the poverty line. So coming up with this amount of money is not possible. Not only that, these women are never going to make this amount of money, and that's why they hold them in such a deep debt bondage. It maybe sounds manageable to us, but we're not living, under the poverty line in a different country. It's a lot different than living middle class or under the poverty line here in the States. So really getting out of the sex trafficking in Eastern Asia is really not an option. It's basically these women are forced, and it's horrible. Moving right along to South Asia. It is estimated that just in South Asia, there are 130,000 sex workers, half of which are underage. In South Asia and in many other places, but South Asia mainly, they start trafficking women at the age of 8 years old. Many of these children are, born into the brothel, brought up by their parents, and at the age of 8 years old, their parents say, "We need money. You're going to start joining this industry." Or these children have gone to sleep right next to their parent and they already know all about it by the time they're 6. So you know what? They figure it's their destiny by the time they're 8. And that's so sad. I think back on myself 2 years ago when I was 16 years old. I'm 18 now. I think back on myself when I was 16 years old. I wasn't ready to have sex when I was 16. I wasn't ready to have sex. I wasn't ready to kiss a boy when I was 8, let alone be taken advantage of by, 40, 50-year-old men. It's horrible. Also in places, South Asia, in Angeles City alone, there are 200 brothels that cater to visiting pedophiles and sex offenders. A lot of places, they're not going to background check. They don't even have that technology. It doesn't matter to them. They're already doing something illegal. So you know what? Selling a 10-year-old to a 50-year-old doesn't even cross their mind because they're getting money, and it's sick. And then you have the problem of cow steroids in places like Bangladesh. They want their women plumper. They want them bigger. That's what's attractive. That's what makes the money. And they force these women to, start taking cow steroids. And that's a fast way for them to gain weight. And it's very hard to come off of. It's addictive. Not only is it addictive, it's going to break down their immune system. Once they get off it, their body's going to go haywire. It's just like any other steroid, that we know about, whether it be one that, helps with the bodybuilding. It's unhealthy, and these women are forced to take it to become more attractive. It's horrible. In Western Asia, it's in Western Asia, it's a very, very different kind of feel with the sex trafficking industry because you have a lot of deep rooted religion there. So, and also we have the war going on. So a lot of women, it's really skyrocketed there with the issue because a lot of women have been fleeing Iraq and going, places around the Western Asia region and starting to prostitute themselves because they don't have the money. They're being suppressed by, maybe their family, their husbands, or, they just don't have anywhere to go. So that's been a major issue since the war has been there. You have to remember in Western Asia, in all of these situations, women are not respected, but especially in Western Asia, women are looked down upon very much so because of the religion. And since you figure most of the people there are religious, these women are looked at as objects, whether by their husbands, their families, and especially in the sex trafficking industry, 87% of them will be assaulted almost to the point of death. That's huge, 87%. Um, and then above all that, you have families who find out that, maybe wives or children or cousins have taken it upon themselves to start prostituting themselves for money. And then you have the problem of honor killings. These families feel that this person has destroyed their honor, and the only way to get that back in the Quran is by killing them, and that would be considered an honor killing. And since this is all deep-rooted religion, it goes unprosecuted. And that is a huge problem in Western Asia that really differs it from the sex trafficking in the rest of the world. I would also like us to keep in mind the lack of punishment for rape and molestation. Whether it be that the government is corrupt, the police are corrupt, they can be paid off, or there's just no laws against it. It's so easy to get away with and goes unprosecuted. So that's Asia. Moving right along, we're going to go into Africa. Africa is definitely a different, field than Asia. Different people, different problems because they're a little more, although we have a lot of parts of Asia that are underdeveloped, Africa has many more. And not only that, it's still a very tribal society. You're going to see in Africa that many children are falling subject to sex trafficking and prostitution because they do not have parents. Many of the kids have lost their parents to the AIDS epidemic, and that's huge because they have lost one or both parents. Sometimes they are left with brothers and sisters to support. They see this as the only way. Sometimes they're left to support themselves, and there's no other way than to bring in money through prostitution. Also, something huge in Africa that does not go on in most other places in the world that I haven't heard of, maybe it does, but punishments for families there. If your family gets in trouble, a lot of times the punishment for the family is to give their virgin daughter into the sex trade. That's huge. It's something that is looked upon as okay there as a punishment, and that's not right. A punishment is going to jail. A punishment is having to do community service. A punishment is not giving your child to be, used as an object. That's not a punishment. That is disgusting. You have to remember that in Africa also, since you have so many tribal, underdeveloped places, these women are given, thinking they can, go off to the bigger cities and, find some kind of work, and then they also fall subject to sex trafficking. So in Africa, it's a very different kind of trafficking problem, but it is a very deep one. To know that you can be punished by taking a child and making them have sex is disgusting. To know that parents are dying because there's no help for AIDS there, and then the kids are having to be left to basically be adults by the time they're God knows what age is disgusting. So that's kind of, a few statistics on Africa. Moving right along, I just don't want to make this video too long. I could talk all day, but, I want to kind of keep it so you guys aren't too bored. South America. The main problem in South America is the fact that people are lured away by false job offers. 100,000 plus women every year are told, you're going to have this lavish life. We have this job for you. It's going to be so amazing. And it ends up that they are put into sex trafficking, not only for little to no pay, but it is not the job that they signed up for, of course. Once again, most brothels in South America are going to cater to your pedophiles. Pedophilia is a huge thing that brothels, know they can feed on. It's something that's not okay in the States. It's something that's not readily accepted in most places. So if it's okay in brothels, that means you're going to get most of your visiting pedophiles and sex offenders to come on in and spend a fortune because they love it. It's their addiction. Also, in South America, you have to remember most workers are not given any compensation at all. A lot of these, they are pimped out and given a little bit of what that person pays for them. Not much, maybe, barely anything. Basically, the pimp is getting all the money. But in South America, a lot of these women are given no compensation at all. And it is said, that their food and shelter is all they need. They owe that person. They don't deserve anything. So that's huge. Finally, we're going to get to Europe real quick. Europe. You think of Europe as a beautiful place, somewhere you want to backpack through, but the problem is huge there too. Female unemployment is huge. 68% turn to prostitution because of being unemployed. It's huge, and 2/3 of the women in the sex trafficking industry are going to come from Europe. And also in Europe, it's impossible to prosecute. It is nearly impossible to prosecute this type of behavior. So since it's so readily accepted and the laws are so lax, it's something that is just kind of an everyday thing, which is mind-boggling. Those are basically the major regions I wanted to hit on. I'm sorry I was, getting through them so fast, but I didn't want to, make this video too long. Basically, I want us to remember also that 80% of HIV cases can be attributed to the sex industry. 80% of them. That's because men don't want to wear protection. There's stories, there's live, people talking and telling you that they may have asked a person to, wear a condom, and they could have been severely beaten for it. Also, I want us to remember 95% of people in the sex industry will experience life-threatening abuse. Right? Some of them are even killed. I actually had read a document, and this little boy was talking about his mother, and he was in the room, and it was, late, and obviously he wasn't going to stay out on the streets, so he's in the room, being very quiet because he didn't want to anger the man, just being very good, and his mother didn't want to do something the man asked of her, and he beat her severely with a cast iron pan and then lit her on fire right in front of his eyes. It's those kind of things that you as a person can't even process. I as a person can't even process or understand. To watch your parent burn before your eyes and have it be because of someone else's malicious ways, it makes my stomach turn. There's so many stories like that too. Women and the young girls are killed every day for not following directions from a male because they are looked at as nothing more than, this shirt on my body. I paid for this, they paid for them, they can do what they want with them. And it's so sad that this isn't being prosecuted. There are no laws against it, or the laws are too lax and we don't even fucking know about it. It's messed up. So basically, that's a little bit about it. I want you, if you guys, feel like you want to read a little more about it, donate to the cause. I'll put the links down here. But the first great organization would be endhumantrafficking.org. Once again, that's endhumantrafficking.org. They have some great information, and you can donate to their cause. They educate people and they go in and help, and that's something huge. Another great organization would be thehumanfoundation.net. Once again, that's thehumanfoundation.net. They also do a lot of education, just like the other one, going in there helping these women and things like that. It's not fair that red light children are not allowed to get an education. It's not fair that red light women are looked at as a shirt on my back. It's not fair. So let's change it. The links for these websites will be in the information below. And next week, I have not decided the subject, but we shall see. It'll be something else hard hitting. So I hope you guys enjoyed and definitely learned some stuff and can go out and, be passionate and share it with somebody else. So go in peace and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.